Hello. Trading is closed on the 17th of May, 2022. We always begin with our disclaimer reminding people that it's my trading plan for tomorrow. It's a plan. I can be wrong. I can change my mind. Any trade we make should be at one's own risk. Let's go over our calls. Look for the pattern with the early high. That's this. So that tends to be a rally day with a final hour high. We said if this was as positive a pattern as I thought it was, we should trade up, but I wasn't going to call it a lock. And here's what we said. Now, during the day, MEJT said ultimately a higher price it would print. We dropped first, but ultimately they did print. Said this rally wouldn't stick, it was false. It's retraced. Said this drop wouldn't stick, it was false, and that's retraced. Here's where we are. We think we've completed an ABC. We don't know what the degree is. We have a ways to go higher. Doesn't mean you have to go up every day. Doesn't mean you have to go up tomorrow. When you magnify it, you'll see we've rallied to, but not through an important channel. This channel's been around since early April. It's resistance. Either you gap over this line or the line wins. It's a logical place for it to stall, but it doesn't have to stall. Sometimes you break through. Well, this is where we are. I can't count this as complete for all of the recovery. It's just too small. But you can count an ABC up if you magnify it. If you magnify that. Let's just look at this last leg. I mean, these are perfect fibs. You have your A, you have your B. Black C is a fib relationship to A. You look inside wave black C, you have an A and a B and a C with good fibs. There's good fibs in this wave B. There's good fibs in this wave C. No matter how hard you do it, it's a perfect Fibonacci pattern. Doesn't mean we have to stop here. Doesn't mean other patterns don't work. But if this does hold, you can explain it. That's a possibility because it's possible to count this as a wall. It's not as clear as I'd like. I'd like it to be straight down, but if it is a wall, this gap tends to fill, and you find support just under the wall, and usually it happens pretty quickly. And what's interesting is if this does hold, which isn't a lock, and we drop, it would be a retrace right to the 61.8% level. Now, all the bulls have to do to kill this pattern is to keep going up. And I'm not saying they won't. But if we stall here, which is possible because this high didn't clear this midday high, which it usually does, if we stall here, you've got a target to retrace all of today's gains. Doesn't make it the only target. Usually this will be over this high, but of course tomorrow's open can substitute for today's close. We open up here, all that negativity goes away. But that hasn't happened yet, even though futures are up. Well, tomorrow's pattern has the early high. We could gap down. We've rallied just over 231 points to the top of a channel. We didn't close at a new high a day, which this pattern usually does, and there's wave balance at today's high. The Nasdaq McClellan oscillator traded over its Bollinger Band once it reverses. It hasn't reversed yet, but if it reverses, it gives a sell signal. It makes the market vulnerable to dropping from the open and erasing today's gains. There's no guarantee this will happen, but if we do drop right from the open, it's a reasonable target. I'm not going to claim it's the only one. Gapping over today's high allows the rally to continue. It's not impossible, as futures are higher as I write this. So if we keep going up, we keep going up. But if we stall here, the target's to erase today's gains. I think if we do pull back here, it's only going to be a temporary pullback. But that doesn't mean you have to sit through it if we are going to give back all of today's gains. So tomorrow's open should be important. It's a pattern with the early high. But if this holds and we start dropping, I wouldn't look for support till we came to yesterday's closing area. So we have to see if we continue higher or if this holds. And that's today's call.